A'udzubillahi syaitanirrajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Magandang hapon po sa kanilang lahat. Ako po si Attorney Israelito Torion, si Attorney Martin Belgra on my left side, si Attorney Luna Acosta who represents the other petitioners, no? And then on my far right is si Boss Dada, who is one of the petitioners here. And then si Coach Oli po is likewise one of the petitioners here. We're all 29 petitioners. As what I have said a while ago, there were other would-be petitioners from Cebu, Dumaguete, from Manila, but we advised them that they will instead file a petition for intervention on the ground that the coordination in the signing of the verification is very difficult, no? Because in the verification process, it is necessary that you should have studied the complaint, assessed the evidences, and you must have personal knowledge of the facts that are cited in the, in the petition, or at the very least, you are personally aware of the attachments or evidences there too, no? Based on authentic records. No, to answer that, no, actually, this is not a last-ditch legal gymnastics, no, that we interposed by filing this petition. Instead, this is a legitimate attempt on the part of the people in order to stop a constitutionally void as well as defective, procedurally defective and jurisdictionally deficient impeachment complaint that was filed against VP Sara Duterte. No? We would like to emphasize that this is our individual move, collective efforts on the part of us, individual petitioners, and VP Sara has nothing to do with this. And this is our move because we feel that the impeachment complaint really is defective based on three grounds, three principal grounds. Number one, there were three impeachment complaints that were filed on December 2, December 4, as well as December 19 by different individuals. Well, you can say that they are mostly on the left, but the fact remains that there were three, impeachment complaints on December 2, 4, and 19. December 4 complaint was the second complaint, and the endorsement, it was filed by Attorney Nery Colmenares et al. And endorsed by Representative Franz Castro and two others. And why do I have to emphasize this? Because they're the ones now belittling our moves. And why is this important? This is important because if you base it under Article 11, Section 3, Paragraph 2, okay, you will realize that it is mandatory under the 1987 Constitution for the House of Representatives to act right away on any impeachment complaints and accordingly subject it to the order of business within 10 session days and refer it to the proper committee within 3 session days thereafter. Now, if you will likewise read Rule 2 of the, House of Representatives on impeachment, it is likewise clearly stated therein that upon receipt of the impeachment complaint, it should be referred to the Speaker by the Secretary General, and the Speaker is mandated by their own rules to have it set in the order of business within 10 session days from receipt, and the Speaker is mandated by their own rules to refer it to the Committee on Justice within 3 days. And what did they do? They never acted on the three complaints. And these were filed on December 2, 4, and 9. Never acted. They waited until February 5. No? On the last day of the third session, House session, third, and what did they do? They fast-tracked. No? We can even characterize it, to borrow the words of Justice Corona, blitzkrieg fashion, the filing of the fourth impeachment complaint, and in just
3 hours, more or less, 215 congressmen allegedly read and verified the thick impeachment complaint that was the fourth one that was already filed. Which brings me to another ground, therefore. Now, why do we say that this is act on the first 3 complaints is not a matter of discretion? It should have been done, but they never did that. They dilly-dallied, and they waited for the fourth complaint at the last hour before they entertained, in a flash, in a blitzkrieg fashion, this fourth complaint. So if you will base it on Francisco versus House of Representatives, Gutierrez versus House of Representatives, the fourth complaint would have no legal basis anymore. Okay? Second point, the verification requirement. If you will read Article 11 of Section 3 of the 1987 Constitution, if they base it on Section 5, that if they have the one-third vote of the House of Representatives, please read it in the 1987 Constitution, that in case the verified complaint, so meaning, before you talk about trial in the Senate forthwith, you must see to it that there was proper verification, because the law Constitution requires in case of verified complaint. So we must determine, therefore, as to whether or not there was proper verification that was conducted in vis-a-vis the impeachment complaint as submitted and filed in the Senate. If you will look, this can already been revealed now. If you will look at the impeachment complaint as filed in the Senate, there was even no proper verification. Who signed it? It was only the Secretary General who subscribed it, who stated among others that this was subscribed before him. Is that a proper verification? And besides, even a mathematical computation, 215 congressmen who did not have any idea at all as to what was the subject matter of the caucus as of 10:15, 10:30, 10:45 a.m. And then by 3:15 in the afternoon, they already accordingly added it as additional reference to business. Okay? So they only have 3 hours within which to look at the complaint, verify all the attachments to the complaint. Even if we counted it, they would only have about 1 minute and 2 seconds, no, to finish it all, if we believe them. Now, can you understand anything in 1 minute and 2 seconds? Ang kapal-kapal ng impeachment complaint. Why? Because an impeachment complaint is not a road process. It is a process which is sacrosanct. Why? Because this is not merely a numbers game. And as a matter of fact, if you will base it in Gutierrez versus House of Representatives, the Supreme Court was in relation with Francisco versus House of Representatives. The Supreme Court was emphatic in saying that this is a sacrosanct process, that the impeachment process should not be only considered as a numbers game to be used by Congress in order to crucify high public officials. No? And then third, there was violation of due process. Why violation of due process? The Vice President was denied prior notice and hearing prior to the filing of the sport complaint. Okay? She was never informed beforehand that this new complaint is going to be filed against him. It is basic in our 1987 Constitution that no person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. How much more in an impeachment complaint which would seek a high government official elected by 32,208,417 votes. this is 32 million including our votes, which are going to be discarded, which are going to be marginalized or erased simply because of the unilateral actions of 200 individuals who think that they are above the law. So this is the essence of our petition, and we seek that the Supreme Court would grant us a temporary restraining order, restraining the Senate from acting on the impeachment complaint, and thereafter a preliminary injunction on the ground that doing so would cause grave and irreparable injury upon the people and upon our votes and upon our right as a citizen of this republic, knowing, and as a taxpayer, knowing that as taxpayer, if this impeachment complaint will not be stopped, they would spend millions again just to divert our attention in crucifying the Vice President of the Republic of the Philippines without just cause. So that, in essence, is our complaint.
One last na lang, follow-up na lang. Kasi, ang ina-explain kasi ng mga taga-house kasi is, impeachment is sui generis, mapakain, and it's bound by its own rules, by its own interpretations, and its own, in lahat. Parang napaka-kakaiba niya, it's unique. How can you explain to the court kasi ang pinupuno kasi nila dapat na nandiyan na nga yung mga signatures it's nakalagay sa separate paper yung mga signatures. Ano iaano sa court na itong mga signatures na to were not verified by individual persons, and are you going to prove po ba yung kumakalat na yung social media o yung mga sinasabi social media na the congressmen were forced or coerced to sign because of the so-called aid na ibibigay sa kanila? Are you going to use that as a justification din sa inyong case? Yun lang po. Thank you.
Dagdag lang ako. Kasi may yung basis ng tanong mo, sir, na yung ginawa daw ngayong umaga, last-ditch desperate move to prevent the impeachment of VP Sara. Tama ba yung pagkarinig ko, sir? Alam mo kung bakit, tinanong ko sa'yo kung bakit tama yung pagkarinig ko? Akala ko ang tinutukoy mo, yung ginawa nila sa House, na kung tinama nila yung ginawa sa House, sang-ayon sa saligang batas, wala po kami rito, hindi kami magpa-file ng petition for certiorari and prohibition. Kasi nga, hindi sinunod yung Constitution. And that's the reason why we need to question is because we, as registered voters who voted for the Vice President, will make our vote inutil. Kasi kung successful yung impeachment na yan, mawawalang silbi yung boto namin. Yun lang po ang masasabi ko doon sa sinasabing desperate. Talagang nakita nyo naman siguro ni Railroad yung proceeding. There was no debate, there was no deliberation, it was just introduced and voted upon. Thank you.
If I may add also, you can characterize the verification process as mass oath-taking probably. No? Why? Because there was simply no time for them to read the complaint because of the thinness of the hour that were given them to even read the complaint. And if you note, the Supreme Court is very clear on this matter that an impeachment is a solemn process, bound by rigid procedural requirements. Why? Because the impeachment process is meant to safeguard, not to subvert our democracy. It is supposedly a weapon of last resort. So if it is a weapon of last resort, it is like a cannon with the biggest, it is like a weapon likened to a last artillery, And therefore, if you have to use it, you have to follow the constitutional and procedural safeguards mandated under the 1987 Constitution before you can legally, constitutionally make it happen. In this case, that was not done. We were all in shock simply because of the speed by which the impeachment complaint was filed. There was no proper deliberation. There was no proper discussion. The VP was not even summoned to answer for the alleged allegations, for the allegations that she committed as found in the complaint. So there was no due process at all. So we feel that this should be struck down, and while the case is ongoing, we pray that a status ante quo order or a TRO shall be issued so that our petition can be fully studied by the Supreme Court. Otherwise, if this will not be stopped, imagine 32,208,417 votes as against 215 congressmen who did not have the chance to fully read the complaint, understand it, assess any and all evidences attached to the complaint. So we feel that we have to act, and that is why we filed this petition today.
So our next question. Questions from the floor? Okay, we can open the floor for other matters.
Sir, kay Attorney Torian muna, sir, you're urging the COMELEC to conduct a manual count of the ballot.
Okay.
About that issue lang, sir. Why do you want the COMELEC to do a manual count?
I have to clarify that, but it's very clear in my post that we are urging the COMELEC to conduct a manual count in the precinct level. Then after that, there shall be electronic transmission. And why is that? Because if you read the present law on the matter, that is required by law. Okay? But the problem is that I think COMELEC has no plans in implementing it. And why am I invoking that? No? And convincing the people that let us all convince the COMELEC to do this. Why? Because there is no way for us to verify whether or not your votes are indeed counted properly in these elections. Imagine, if you will just vote and the vote is not even flashed before you, and it is not even seen whether or not your votes are counted, how are we going to verify when the votes are canvassed in the Board of Canvassers? What am I proposing is merely the implementation of the law in the precinct level. There shall be reading on the part of the BOC of our votes so that we can tally it. There shall be taras. There will be a record how each candidate fared in each of the precinct. An election return will be, or certificate of election votes would be granted to us, signed by the BEI. And then we will have the opportunity to collate all ERs from all precincts, tally the same, and we will have the necessary data to determine whether or not the results in the Board of Canvassers are really authentic, true, and can be verified. Without this, we would all be at the mercy of the gods that be behind the computer voting that we have now. This is the only way the people should understand that we should have manual counting in the precinct level. After that, the results should be transmitted in accordance with law. in accordance with the automated election system, no? But at the very least, in the precinct level, kailangan count manual yan. Basahin para malaman natin ilan ang boto ni Pastor Apollo Sigibuloy, ilan ang boto ni Hinlo, ilan ang boto ni Attorney Bondo, ilan ang boto ni Attorney Lambino. Malalaman namin. Kasi kung idiretso mo yan, wala tayong mechanism to counter-check. No? So, yun po ang aming sanang hiling sa Commission on Elections. Kasi po, wala kaming basihanan kung yung resulta ba na i-flash nila ay totoo bang resulta yun. Para na rin, wala na rin duda. Wala na rin duda. Kaya we want an honest, free, credible elections po. Yun lang po.
Attorney, still with elections, attorney. Meron pong comment yung isang human rights group po, questioning po yung video naman po ni Pastor Kibuloy po while in jail po, campaigning po. For the record, attorney, meron daw po bang court order or permission po yung video na yun? And can we clarify the matter po? Thank you.
Yes. You see, Pastor Apollo Sigibuloy is still an accused person. And an accused person, the presumption of innocence is still there. And his civil and political rights are intact. It's just that somebody is accusing him of a crime. So therefore, we invoke his rights under the 1987 Constitution, including Mandela rules. No? Nelson Mandela was in prison for more than 30 years, and there is a Mandela rules which actually subscribe and list out all the rights of prisoners, no? And this is now considered as part of our constitutional law. And if you will base it under Article 2 of our 1987 Constitution, Section 2, generally accepted principles of international law are deemed to form part of the law of the land. Now, we filed that motion that he be allowed to be present during media interviews, or in the alternative, at the very least, he should be allowed to tape his messages to the people, to rallies, no? Such as the February 9, February 11, and February 12, no? Events. The prosecution filed a vehement objection. It was discussed, subjected to hearing. Eventually, the court denied our first motion that he personally appear in interviews, okay, but granted our motion that he would tape his messages to his supporters on February 9, February 11, February 13, if my memory serves me right. It was with a court sanction and order granted after a full-blown hearing. Thank you.
Other questions? Yes.
Attorney Delgra, itanong ko na to kasi medyo kahapon nag-blow up kasi to eh. Yung sinasabing threats ni former President Duterte. Kasi sinabi ni NBI Director Jimmy Santiago na it's only a joke, political rhetoric. Pero nag-file lang kaso kahapon sa DOJ si CIDG Chief Torre. What's your reaction doon sa pag-file ni General Torre ng kaso kay former President Duterte? And do you think po ba the former President needs to be filed a case against dito sa comments siya nung PDP Laban proclamation rally?
I actually cannot comment on the complaint filed allegedly yesterday because I have not seen the complaint that was filed, if ever. What I can comment is the remark made by the former president. There was actually an incitement made by the president. Diba? An element of sedition is to incite. It was to incite to laugh. It was a joke. It was not encouraging to disobey authority, constituted authority. It was to encourage the audience to laugh. So yun po ang nangyari doon sa proclamation. I was also there. Kaya nga ang sagot ko doon sa tanong at pinapacomment ako, sinabi ko lang, ano yung reaction ng mga tao nung narinig nila yung remark ng Presidente? Tumawa lahat. At kilala na natin yung Presidente. At hindi lang ako, hindi lang kami. I think all of us here and most, if not all of the Filipinos know the President quite well, even as mayor and then he became President. Ganun na siya magsasalita. So, you know, it makes people laugh. What's wrong with that?
Thank you. Any more questions? Yes.
Just to be very exact, no, insofar as the manual counting is concerned, please check Section 31 of Republic Act 9639. Section 31 actually provides that in reading the individual official ballots during the counting, the chairman, poll clerk, and third member shall provide the watchers and the public an unimpeded view of the ballot being read by the chairman of the election return and the tally board being simultaneously accomplished by the poll clerk and the third member respectively. Note that Republic Act 9639 amended Republic Act 8436. So this is the current law now, Section 31, and what we are actually emphasizing is merely the implementation of that law.
Yes. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Attorney Saskin Morel of the French News Agency, can you confirm that this is the first legal challenge against the impeachment filed in the Senate?
I'm based in Davao City, actually Davao del Sur to be exact. So I'm near the boondocks, so I do not have any personal knowledge as to whether or not other well-meaning people or individual has initiated a petition for certiorari similar to ours. So as far as I know, this is, I think, the first one, and I know for certain that this is not going to be the last one.
You said the Vice President has nothing to do with this.
Yes.
How do we describe the group of 29 petitioners?
Well, I would describe them as individuals who all love the Vice President, but that does not necessarily mean that we are being sponsored by Vice President Sara Duterte. We all voted for Vice President Sara Duterte, and as a voter, therefore, who actually voted for her, we are particles of sovereignty, which actually, or who chose her as our Vice President, which gives us the requisite legal personality to question any move that would lead to her ouster. Because we voted for her, then it gives us the legal right to question the present move to oust her. And we are likewise citizens of this republic. We are part of the body politic. Any discomfort, any nuisances, any and all disturbances that may arising out of this move also concerns us. And as taxpayers, we are paying taxes to the government. We also have the requisite legal right as taxpayers to see to it that tax money, such as to be used, the millions of pesos that are going to be used in the trial of VP Sara, we have the right to question that. Because as taxpayers, we have the requisite legal personality to question any and all expenses that are to be incurred by any government entity concerning any move in that regard. No? The mere creation of a prosecution panel, their preparation would entail money. The trial that will be conducted would entail money. So we, therefore, as taxpayers, have the right to be involved and file this petition.
Thank you. Yes. Last question.
Wala sa lang.
We just want to quote, siguro nagtatanong kung bakit kami at hindi si VP Sara. As mentioned, wala siyang role dito. I think she only learned of it belatedly na may ginagawa. That, I'm just assuming because I do not know for a fact. But whatever is the case, we stood here as petitioners, and I would just like to read, insofar as my standing is concerned. The petitioner has voted the Vice President, and such vote will be rendered inutile if the defective impeachment complaint will be given due course. Quote unquote.
Wala sa lang. Kasi nasabi nga yung 32 million na bumoto kay VP. Pero of course,